The 2025 Japanese Grand Prix isn't just another race, it's the one that could flip this entire season on its head. With shocking team changes, rising stars, and one legendary track, anything can happen at Suzuka. But we're not just here to talk, we're going to predict who's going to win this race based on cold, hard statistics and expert analysis, so you can always win that bet against your friends. A legendary circuit with a brutal history. So Suzuka is not just a racetrack, it's a proving ground. A narrow, twisting, figure-8 ribbon of asphalt that has been deciding championships and crushing dreams since the late 1980s. It's the kind of circuit that doesn't just expose driver talent, it punishes even the slightest weakness. The perfect lap here isn't just about speed, it's about rhythm, precision, and guts. From the infamous 130R corner to the blind entry of the Degners, Suzuka tests everything: brakes, tires, strategy, and above all, nerve. The Japanese Grand Prix has hosted some of Formula One's most iconic moments. Think back to the clashes between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, where titles were won and lost with wheel-to-wheel contact and controversy that still sparks debate today. Or, more recently, remember how Lewis Hamilton clinched his third world title here, with a dominant performance reminding the world why he was the man to beat. The track itself hasn't changed much over the years. But the stakes have, and they're higher than ever in 2025. This year, Suzuka feels like a pressure cooker. Red Bull isn't as dominant as expected, McLaren has shocked everyone with 2 wins in a row, and with driver changes, unexpected upgrades, and a tighter championship race, every lap in Japan could shake up the leaderboard. Suzuka's weather, unpredictable at best, only adds fuel to the fire. Rain has played a role in many past Japanese Grand Prix, creating chaos and opportunities in equal measure. One well-timed pit stop or a late race safety car could make all the difference. So when drivers line up on that grid in Japan, it won't just be a battle of machines, it'll be mental warfare. And the ones who survive the gauntlet of Suzuka might just emerge as real title contenders, or leave with nothing but regret. The rise of McLaren and why everyone's watching Norris. But McLaren's resurgence in 2025 is something no one saw coming, at least not like this. At the start of the season, they were considered fast, but not yet threatening. Solid midfield material with potential for podiums, sure, but not necessarily championship contenders. That changed in Australia. Lando Norris didn't just win, he dominated. Clean strategy, surgical overtakes, and raw pace from lights to flag. Then came China, where Oscar Piastri led the team to an awe-inspiring 1-2 finish. Suddenly, McLaren wasn't a nice surprise, they were a real problem for every other team. And Suzuka might be their strongest track yet. The 2025 McLaren car is designed with high-speed corners in mind, and Suzuka has them in abundance. From the S's to spoon curve, McLaren's aerodynamic efficiency could give them a genuine edge. Both Norris and Piastri excel under pressure, and the combination of driver confidence with a perfectly dialed-in chassis makes them the pair to beat. What's more, McLaren hasn't just been quick in clean air, they've been lethal in traffic, cutting through the field when needed and outsmarting rivals in pit strategy. But make no mistake, this spotlight is brightest on Lando Norris. He's no longer the young hopeful. He's the man leading a charge, carrying McLaren's legacy back into the spotlight. He's never won at Suzuki before, but the way he's been driving this year, that could change. The team around him is sharper than ever, and the data shows they've been focusing setup development on tracks just like this. That means better grip in long corners, more stability under braking, and crucially, less tire degradation, something Suzuka is notorious for. McLaren's timing couldn't be better. As other teams stumble, they're climbing fast. Suzuka might not just be another win, it could be the race where McLaren declares, loud and clear, that the championship is officially wide open. Red Bull's power struggles in the surprise switch. Red Bull isn't falling apart, not yet, but the cracks are showing, and for a team that spent years on top, even small tremors can lead to seismic collapse. After years of dominance under Max Verstappen, 2025 has brought a twist. He's not winning every race. In fact, his 4th place finish in China left fans stunned. Red Bull's pace, once untouchable, now looks vulnerable. And what's perhaps more alarming is that the team knows it. The car isn't handling Suzuka simulations like it used to, and internal pressure is boiling. Then came the shocking driver switch. Yuki Tsunoda, promoted to Red Bull's main team for his home Grand Prix, replacing Liam Lawson. The move was sudden, and while it's being spun as developmental, the reality might be much messier. Lawson's performances haven't been disastrous, but Tsunoda has been showing flashes of brilliance all season. He's aggressive, fearless, and knows every inch of Suzuka like the back of his hand. The timing suggests Red Bull is trying to inject some fresh energy, or maybe even shake up Max's comfort zone. And speaking of Max, while he's still one of the most gifted drivers on the grid, his body language lately has told a different story. Frustration, agitation, even doubt. For a man who rarely makes mistakes, he's been visibly rattled by McLaren's pace. He knows Suzuka has traditionally been a Red Bull stronghold, but this year feels different. The RB21 isn't playing to its usual strengths, and Verstappen might be pushing harder than ever, which can lead to magic or to mistakes. Red Bull remains dangerous, but they're also volatile. The team is managing egos, expectations, and a changing pecking order, all while trying to stay competitive. If things don't go their way at Suzuka, it might not just be about losing the race. It could signal the end of their grip on the championship altogether. The dark horses, Mercedes and Aston Martin, every championship season has its surprises, and often it's not the favorites who create the biggest waves. In 2025, Mercedes and Aston Martin have quietly positioned themselves as the ultimate dark horses. They're not dominating headlines, but they're lurking just behind the chaos, ready to pounce if the front runners stumble. And if Suzuka delivers the unpredictability it's famous for, that's exactly what might happen. Let's start with Mercedes. George Russell has been the quiet storm this season. While he hasn't taken a win yet, his performances have been remarkably consistent. Third in China wasn't flashy, but it was smart, strategic, calculated. He's adapted to the new car faster than many expected. A machine that, while still twitchy in low-speed corners, has found its rhythm on high-speed tracks. Suzuka, with its flowing S-curves and fast straights, could be the perfect match. Russell thrives under pressure and has a knack for capitalizing on the tiniest window of opportunity. If McLaren or Red Bull falter, Russell will be the first to strike. And then there's Aston Martin, the wild card. Fernando Alonso, still defying age and expectation, has turned in some masterful drives this year. While the team struggled mid-season in 2024, their 2025 updates have started to bite. The car's balance is better, its top speed has improved, and most importantly, Alonso has a score to settle with Suzuka. He knows this circuit rewards experience and racecraft over raw horsepower. Two things he has in abundance. If rain hits or safety cars come into play, don't be surprised if Alonso finds himself fighting for a podium or more. Both Mercedes and Aston Martin have something that the frontrunners might lack right now: nothing to lose. They're not under the microscope, and that freedom could be their greatest asset. Suzuka has a way of rewarding those who stay calm in chaos, and these two teams are built for just that. Weather strategy and chaos, the Suzuka variables. Ask any veteran driver about Suzuka, and one thing comes up again and again: the variables. No matter how well you prepare, Suzuka finds a way to throw in a twist. Sometimes it's the weather, sometimes it's tire degradation, and sometimes it's just pure, unpredictable chaos. In a season as tight as 2025, those small disruptions could rewrite the entire narrative in the blink of an eye. First, let's talk weather, because Suzuka in spring is notoriously unstable. Sunshine can turn to showers in minutes. We've seen it before. In 2014, a downpour led to tragic consequences and a race shrouded in confusion. In 2022, rain nearly caused a red flag fiasco. This year, the forecasts are already uncertain. Teams are preparing for the possibility of mixed conditions, and that means tire choice and timing will be everything. A mistimed pit stop could drop a leader to the back. A gamble on intermediates at just the right time, that could win the race. Then there's tire strategy. Suzuka is one of the hardest circuits on tires, especially the front left. With high-speed corners like 130R and the S-curves early in the lap, degradation comes fast. Drivers need to manage their stints with surgeon-like precision, and teams must read the track evolution like a chessboard. This year, with Pirelli bringing a softer compound mix, expect multiple stops and more risk-taking. The window for a perfect pit stop will be razor thin. Finally, we can't ignore the human element: pressure. With championship implications growing and fan expectations soaring, especially with Yuki Tsunoda now in the Red Bull seat, nerves will be tested. Suzuka has zero margin for error. Go wide in Degner 1, and you're in the gravel. Clip the curb wrong at Spoon and your lap's ruined. In a race where one misstep can cost everything, the calmest hands on the wheel will rise. And as we've seen so many times before, Suzuka rarely goes according to plan. Stats, trends, and data, who's really the favorite? To strip away the hype and get to the core of who's really most likely to win the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix, we need to look at the numbers, because while the paddock buzzes with rumors and gut feelings, the data tells a story that's impossible to ignore. One that might just expose a new frontrunner. Let's start with qualifying performance. Over the past 3 years, Suzuka has rewarded teams that prioritize stability in fast corners and early apex entry. That favors McLaren this year, whose aerodynamic upgrades have slashed their Sector 1 and Sector 2 times by nearly 0.3 on average. In China and Australia, both high-load circuits, McLaren was top 3 in every qualifying session. More impressively, their race pace held strong late into the stint, especially compared to Red Bull, which struggled with rear grip on the softer compounds. Then there's pit stop efficiency. McLaren's average pit time this season is 2.34 seconds, the fastest on the grid. In contrast, Red Bull, while historically quick, has seen an uptick in small procedural errors. A half-second delay might not sound like much, but in Suzuka's tight midfield, that can mean the difference between clean air and being stuck behind Alonso. On tire wear, telemetry shows McLaren's balance allows them to extend their stints by up to 4 laps longer than Red Bull or Mercedes, while maintaining lap times within 0.2 seconds of optimal pace. That's huge on a track where overcutting or undercutting can determine your final position. Even simulation models from independent analytics firms have shifted their predictions. One model, taking into account recent form, tire degradation rates, and cornering G-force consistency, gives Norris a 36% chance of winning. Verstappen, 28%. Piastri, 18%. Those aren't just guesses, they're modeled predictions based on live data and trends. So, if you're placing bets, bragging rights, or just looking to impress your friends with race day wisdom, the numbers have already spoken. Prediction time, who we think will win the 2025 Japanese GP. Everything we've seen so far, from team form, driver confidence, track compatibility, and hard data, points us toward one clear prediction. And while it might not be the most popular name in the paddock, it's the one that makes the most sense. Our prediction: Lando Norris will win the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix. Here's why. First, the stats. Norris leads all drivers this season in average corner entry speed, tire conservation over a 20-lap stint, and consistency across varying track temperatures, all vital for Suzuka. His win in Australia wasn't a fluke, and his P2 in China showed strategic maturity that many didn't think he had. This isn't the same Lando Norris from 2 seasons ago. He's leveled up, and this car is finally giving him the platform to prove it. Second, the team. McLaren's engineering squad has been relentless. Every upgrade they've brought has delivered results. Their straight-liner speed may not match Red Bull's, but Suzuka isn't about raw power. It's about momentum through corners, and McLaren is optimized for exactly that. Their double-stack pit stop in China was flawless. Their tire calls have been sharp. If the weather shifts, they're ready. But there's more than just logic here. There's momentum. Norris is carrying confidence like never before. He's not just driving to survive anymore, he's driving to win. And while Verstappen will be a threat, especially if the Red Bull finds more pace, it's Norris who feels in sync with his car, his team, and the moment. Could someone else pull off a miracle? Absolutely. But if we're putting chips on the table, the smart money is on Norris. Outro what this race could mean for the entire season. Suzuka isn't just another stop on the calendar, it's the kind of race that echoes through the rest of the season. If Lando Norris wins here, as we predict, it sends a message to every team and every fan: the Red Bull era may finally be cracking. McLaren is no longer the underdog, they're contenders. And Suzuka, with all its drama, history, and challenge, could be the turning point we look back on as the race that changed everything. But beyond that, this Grand Prix reminds us why we love Formula One in the first place. The unpredictability, the rivalries, the tiny margins, the mix of human brilliance and machine perfection. It's not just about who crosses the line first, it's about the journey to get there, the chaos along the way, and the moments we'll be talking about for years. So, do you agree with our prediction, or do you think someone else will rise above the madness and take the win in Japan? Let us know in the comments, and if you think you've got a better bet, we want to hear it. One thing's for sure, when the lights go out at Suzuka, you won't want to blink.